Hello everyone. Welcome to the Enthu English Podcast. I'm Klaudia Łojas, your Enthu English Coach. Thank you for tuning in to episode 18, the 3F circular process of learning grammar. As you know, we are halfway through March 2024, and I continue to cheer you on enthusiastically as you're dancing yourselves gracefully to fluency. Keep up the good work. Today, I'm going to take you for a rather quick ride, but thought-provoking ride into the process of mindfully learning from your own mistakes. So please fasten your seatbelts and hold on to your seats as we speed through what I call the 3F circular process of learning grammar. Last time, in episode 17, I encouraged you to consider learning grammar courageously, bravely, fearlessly, that is, through trial and error. Yep, there's a good reason why I've chosen these particular adjectives. Because learning grammar, or learning in general, is fraught with a minefield of uncertainties, frustrations, risk-taking. It does involve putting your ego at risk, more often than not. What else? It involves exposing your insecurities and being subject to perfectionism and imposter syndrome, and so on and so forth. And in today's episode of the Enthu English Podcast, I'm hoping to give you the wings that you unquestionably need to glide right through to this new territory with your head up high. So here I am, back with you, to bring you a fresh perspective on how to use mistakes to your greatest advantage. Let me introduce you to the 3F circular process of learning grammar. I have come to see it in that way, as a circular process, through my nearly decade-long teaching practice and also more recently my professional coaching adventure. Now, what are the 3 F's of that process? 1. Follow. 2. Fail. 3. Fix. And there is some kind of variation that I like to take into account as well. So the first one is follow, but in the second one, you can also think of failing versus fumbling, and I'll explain what that means in a moment. And in the third round, let's say, it's about fixing, or first rather trying to figure out what to fix and how to fix it. Let's explore then each of them so you can easily use the process to guide you from now on. The first F stands for follow. Well, it's about following your intuition about what sounds or feels right, and consequently, experimenting with the language and taking a risk to use what you intuitively, rather than intellectually, know could be correct, in order to check how others might react to it. Because no speaking, you know this, means no potential feedback, right? So much, I think there's so much valuable information that slips through your fingers if you're too afraid to speak and put yourself out there. And yes, I know what you're thinking. At least I guess, it does mean sticking out your neck. The second F stands for fail or fumble. Fumble is about, it means acting awkwardly, clumsily, not elegantly at all. Because you have decided, now going back to following your intuition, because you have decided to test your intuition, or your understanding of a grammar point of a specific chunk of language, you can now find out if that was the right move. If not, then you have just received priceless information, and you can, and let me stress that, you can, if you want, you can learn from it and do something proactive about it. And now, that brings us to the third F, where you make sure to figure out how to fix anything that was not correct the next time you speak. If it's not possible to restate what you said in the moment, on the spot, nothing is lost, I think, as long as you give it your full attention and reflect on the mistake later on, later down the line. So how does it look? Well, in practice, it could go like this. You record your mistake in the most convenient way for you. For example, you make a voice message or you make a note. And when you find a moment of, let's say, peace and undisturbed focus, you smooth things over for yourself. So, for example, you can check how to say it correctly and most naturally in English. And then you try to recreate the conversation and act out the right response. In this way, you'll pave the way for your brain, like preparing the ground of sorts for your brain to follow next time you need to use the same phrase or grammar point. Again, I'd like to touch on the courage. If you have the courage to learn from yet another glorious, spectacular mistake, just repeat the process. It's circular, as I said, and can be used simultaneously with every grammar bit or every language chunk that you stumble on. It's not just about grammar, although that's the focus of our episode today. And this process also applies to a broader use of language. But before we wrap up, let me ask you, are you ready? Are you perhaps ready for the next challenge? If the answer is yes, take part in my brand new Enthu English lesson on exactly making and learning from mistakes. Learning from them so that you're able to move on, move forward, supercharged. I have designed the activities to, in this series of lessons actually, to provide you with a testing ground to practice sharing your past experiences in the most natural way so that it sounds authentic to you and what you learned from them. Check the video notes below to book a trial lesson and start learning with me today. So guys, my dear Enthu English speakers, my final message to you and also wholehearted invitation is that you keep your eyes wide open and observe acutely, carefully the language as it is spoken in real-life conversations and catch any patterns that become evident. And this is exactly what we deal with in Enthu English classes. Yes, indeed. That's all for now. I'll come back soon, and until then, speak English enthusiastically. Bye-bye.